Hello and welcome to Library Salad. Today's episode is Frugal Tips, brought to you by the Monroeville Public Library in Pennsylvania. Hi, I'm Alice, and we're going to have Library Salad. Means we're just going to take a topic, toss around some ideas, and you may have noticed that this little sign was a little bit different this week. Why? We're talking about being frugal, so I used last week's, just turned it around and wrote on it. I also, right before this, realized I hadn't made the sign, had turned off my computer and decided I wasn't going to turn that back on and waste the electricity.
And the printer ink.
And the printer ink. So much we have saved today. Now.
Good episode.
Yes. This is going nowhere fast. Anyway, so being frugal actually means that a person is not wasteful. I mean, they don't want to waste their time on something. They're looking for good value, which is different than someone who is considered to be cheap. That person will look for the bottom line, lowest price. Frugal is different. Now, in the United States, the average household spends about 10% of their personal income on food. And of that, each person will actually waste 200 pounds of that food per year. So we're going to talk about ways to be frugal with food. First up, the plate. Now, this plate can easily put whatever your protein is, side dish, your vegetables, and certainly be enough. But funny thing is, this is the salad or dessert plate with my set. The dinner plate is this. So a while back we decided to switch to this. We don't notice a difference. I'm sorry. Works for you? Okay.
That's better. It
That's
shows the difference much better.
Yes, there you go. So check your dishes. You may find there's a big difference, and by switching that, save a couple of calories, certainly save the food. And speaking of shopping for food, have you noticed that the grocery carts are actually very large? There is a specific reason for that, because if you go and you just simply start putting in a couple of items, it's going to look empty and you'll have the need to fill that up. If you're going to stop by the store just for a couple of things, don't get a shopping cart. Just get one of those baskets. This way you can fit it in there and you won't be prone to just, walking around and maybe picking a couple of items, because you'll be saying to yourself, this is getting heavy, I really should get online. Now, it is best if you can go shopping at the grocery store by yourself. I certainly understand that that's not an option for everybody, but if you take someone with you, chances are they're going to want to put an item or more in that cart. Let's say each week the person that is shopping with you decides they want a bag of chips. I'm going to call it $3 for the sake of math, but we know that much more than that. And let's say every week when you shopped, there was one more thing added to the cart. That's about $156 a year just on the extra bag of something that you really didn't need. And we always like to, next to the refrigerator, just keep a list. So when you realize that, we're getting low on something, it just goes quickly on the list. So you don't forget, you don't have to make a special trip on there for anything. And if you're going to make an item, if you can make double the recipe, you're going to save yourself a lot of time. There's going to be less having to cook things again. Classic example is the meatloaf. All right. It's just as easy to make 2 meatloaves. Buy a little extra of the ground beef and then divide it in half. Freeze one, so another time where it gets later on in the week, say we don't really have anything for tomorrow, something. This way, take it out. You've got a whole extra meal there. And basil. I happen to be very fond of basil. Basil's in a lot of recipes, but basil, if you go to the store and you just buy a little couple of leaves of it and a little clear package. It's about $5. What I did is at the local store that just has a lot of flowers and plants that you can purchase. I bought one. Let's call it a nursery. Okay. So I purchased one. It was under $5. Put it in a larger pot, and this is what it actually looked like. What you're going to see here is after maybe it was about 6 or 7 people, I had them able to cut off very large stems so that they could take it home and they could also freeze it. Basil freezes very well. Simply do is you wash it, you dry it, cut it up, and then with your handy dandy ice cube tray, you're going to simply put a couple of pieces in that have already been cut up, add a little olive oil, and that's going to be something you can simply freeze. When they're frozen, just dump them out into a freezer bag and you've got basil for the whole winter. You may be saying to yourself, I don't have one of these because my freezer makes ice. Mine did too. I didn't have one, but what I did was I went to the thrift store. I got 3 of these for 99 cents. Now, I only need one for each time that I do something like this. So what's going to happen? I'm going to take the other 2, donate them back. Don't keep things around that you don't need. Helpful on that. It's also good to have in your pantry, to every once in a while go through your pantry, go make it so a little more organized. You may say, I have no time for this. Do you have time to look for something? Weigh those 2. By looking and being things organized, you can actually say, oh, I do need that, or I don't need that. Because if you don't see something and you need it, you'll buy another one, and then you're left with 2 of something. Some things like, let's say, baking powder, if you bought one by mistake, or in the fact that you already had one, it's going to take you a long time to go through this. So you know what happened here. And if you are not satisfied with an item, it's in everyone's best interest if you actually look on the back of the carton and contact them, let them know what the problem was. They want to know how they can make the product better. You want to let them know. And for example, this week I was having trouble with a sanitizing item, and part of it was coming apart. We got it at a big box store, so there was a lot of them. I called the company, let them know what the problem is, and they asked me the pricing of it, which I gave them, and I am expecting shortly a coupon for $10 that I can use on any of their products. So it really pays to let a company know if you're not satisfied with something. Let's go on to the words coming, beauty products and things like that. Now, it's important that once you think an item is used up, there's probably a lot left in the container. Now, classic is any sort of tubes that have, this happens to be blush. Now, when you throw it back into your makeup bag, it's probably just laying like this. So in order to get it out as it's running low, it's a little more difficult. And if you're pressing it hard, a lot will come out at one time, which will be wasteful. Believe it or not, you're not supposed to put it back into the can, but it's hard to get out. What I usually do is, as it's getting lower, as I take my makeup out, put my makeup on, I will put it in like this and just bring it to the end so that the thing is, this can sit in an upright position while I'm doing my makeup. So by the time I'm ready for the blush, it's easily as come down to it, it'll come out more. Once you get to the point where even this isn't working out, if you just cut the bottom with a scissor, you can, with a Q-tip or something, you can get, even if this is a little squeeze, you can get a lot out. Once you cut it, put it into a baggie so that it can go back into whatever you keep your makeup in. Last time when I got low and I did this, it lasted me for a month. And I use it daily. So try it even on a toothpaste. That's going to be the same thing. If you cut off the ends and put it in a Ziploc, you're going to get a lot more out of it. He is shaking his
I'm
head.
not doing that.
That's fine. That's fine. I will represent the family, and
Please don't represent the family.
it's too late. These people are watching. But anyway, I've done it. It works. You really get a lot more value for your money. Speaking of value for your money, tea bags. A lot of people drink tea these days. I know you don't, but a lot of people drink tea these days. And I remember years back, right here, okay, my grandfather used to reuse tea bags. When I was young, seemed a little odd. I understand now what the man was doing, because tea bags are expensive. And you can fully get a second cup, even one of the travel mugs, using it twice. Now, on the line of value, what I noticed, I was going to bring, because we buy the tea bags in a big box from the larger stores. And I was going to say, oh, look, buy the bigger box. When I took the box out, I noticed something had changed dramatically. I remember that formerly on the box, it said there was 176 bags. Why do I remember that? It reminded me of 1776, which happens to be my favorite Broadway play. Now, when I took it out, there's 160 in the box. So, get your full value on it, use it twice. I would not recommend using it 3 times. I've played that game. That's when it sort of comes apart a little, and it's just really not the same. So, twice, work on that. Back with the olive oil.
Which we've actually yet to see on camera. There we go.
There we go. Olive oil. There's a lot of things that you can use besides actually buying makeup remover. Vaseline, olive oil, and even coconut oil are all extremely good for the skin. It's not something you want to use that and put makeup right on, because you're going to have the oil residue. But if you, as you should be, taking off the makeup the night before, we know we all don't, but let's pretend we do. The taking it off the night before and doing that, this is, again, far cheaper than to go and spend a whole bottle just on that. These you can get other uses for. Let's say you're out and about. Bring a beverage with you. If you're going to a couple of stores and things like that, there's no need to have to stop someplace, spend a couple of bucks, when you can simply put this. If I'm going out for a while, I'll bring tea and that. I may even bring a little snack with me, just so that I know what I'm eating and I'm not spending money out and about for that. I know for some people that's a big treat to be able to do that. And if that works for you, that's fine. But I'm just saying that you'd be surprised how much all of this actually adds up. So I like to do that. A lot of different holidays coming up. Always for cards. Now we know cards, people either love them or they've stopped sending them. I am pro, let's go back to cards. You can get them very reasonably. The dollar store has a whole section of 2 for $1. That's a great buy. And you know what? People now, it's so rare that you get cards that it really makes people feel good. So think of trying to do that. We also have Christmas is coming up. A lot of people in the past have done holiday, sometimes it's called the Secret Santa, or even sometimes amongst the family. If a large family, instead of everybody buying everybody a gift, they may just draw a name out of the hat and they're responsible for just getting that person something. The earlier you draw names, the more money you'll be able to save, because if you draw it too close to Christmas, then you feel like you're going to miss out on the sales. You've got a lot of things going on in November. So if you can take advantage of those pricings, and you'll be able to find more of what you want that earlier than going later. What I recommend with a lot of those exchange programs, if the person besides the name just writes a couple of ideas of what they like, it's a lot easier and a lot more fun for the person who's receiving it, because they'll actually get something that they can make use of. So that is Frugal for the year, and I hope that helps you and you had a good time. stay tuned, not next week, but in October, we are going to be doing Oktoberfest, and there will be homemade pretzels involved. See you soon.